Hi guys, it's me Chan Sterling, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Flesh and Blood, the new classic card game from Legend Story Studios. Today, what I want to hang out and do with you guys a little bit is read from the World of Rathe book, put out by Legend Story Studios, and given to stores for helping promote the game. Now, not every store has been able to get their hands on one of these store thank you kits, and so I'm really excited to try to help share some of that love for those of you who can't find a store that has that, or if you aren't able to get into a store and in the Flesh and Blood to see it yourself. If your store is carrying this game, they really, really need to try to get one of their retailer kits, because this book is incredible. It's hardback, it's beautiful, there's just so many cool things inside. And I really want to share some of this cool knowledge with you guys. So this is probably going to be a several-part series as I do some readings from the book, but also just kind of give my thoughts on some of the things inside. Because this book isn't about gameplay really at all, and it's not about behind the scenes either. This is a fully fleshed out world, and it reads more like a role-playing game supplement. So much so that, I'm already working on some role-playing rules to put some of the Flesh and Blood stuff into a role-playing setting. So, for now, hang out with me, and I'll read through some of this wonderful book. The first thing I'm going to go through is one of the first pages we get to, which is this beautiful map of the entire known world of Rathe. And it gives us some wonderful flavor text that I'm going to read. I'll do my best fantasy narrator voice. Long ago, humans arrived on the shores of Rathe from a distant land, seeking a place to build their homes. They found a world of vast mountain ranges and volcanic plains, dense jungles, sheer cliffs, verdant meadows, and iridescent forests. This is Rathe, a land fueled by magic. Once home to incredible beings beyond imagination, humans have overtaken the land, spreading across the continent and changing the land around them. Some learn to harness the innate magic of this world and wield it in battle. Others choose to rely on technology and human innovation. Once the humans of this world were at war, clashing in devastating battles that decimated the land. For a time, it almost seemed as if humanity would be incapable of living alongside one another. But after many hundreds of years, Rathe finally entered a new era of peace. The people of Mysteria withdrew into the mountains. Aria erected great barriers to protect their realm from outsiders. And the kingdom of Solana shifted its focus to spreading the light. Volkor's empire unraveled into a state of constant warfare, as its many generals fought amongst themselves for land and resources. While far to the north, a glittering city of copper and glass emerged, calling to like-minded individuals who looked toward the future. Now this era of peace threatens to descend into chaos once more. The people of Rathe have become restless as seeds of dissent take root across the continent, and the world balances on the brink of war once again. Now, this is from when the game first came out, Welcome to Rathe. So if you've gotten to Crucible of War, the third set, war's probably gone ahead and broken out. The next part of the book, that's very, very cool part of the welcome, is it goes over the 8 regions, cities that encompass Rathe, the world. Each of the heroes that we've encountered so far come from one of these 8 locations. And kind of cool thing is you can tell what location they're from based on the border of their specializations. That will tell you where they're from. So if you look at a character like the Merchant and the new, or in the Ranger, they're from the Pit. Or you can see the new Warrior and Kano, the Wizard, they're from Volkor. Which makes me really excited to see some more characters from Aria, probably my favorite location so far. Bravo player, not Bard, probably not a big surprise. So what I'm going to go and do is read through what this book tells us, a very small snippet of what they say about each of the regions here. Solana. At the center of Rathe lies Solana, a radiant beacon of hope in a world on the brink of chaos. For thousands of years, it has thrived under the guidance of devout scholars, seeking to spread the glory and teachings of Sol throughout Rathe, and unite humanity under a single banner. So they're your kind of prototypical Arthurian land, very religion heavy, very based on their devout teachings. So clerics, warriors, that's where Dorinthia's from. So you're going to get lots of gleaming, pretty, standard knight tropes from there. Next up, we have Aria, a fantastical realm where the landscape is ever-changing, fueled by a magical energy known as the Flow. Amongst the peaceful villages of Aria, celebrations and festivals are a regular occurrence, filled with performers, musicians, and entertainers. Now, Aria is a magical land that's been kind of hidden away from the rest of the world without need of war or resources. So now that people are able to enter Aria, they kind of have to defend themselves and interact with strangers they've never had to before. So these peace-loving musicians and artists are having to take up arms and defend their land, and it's a pretty neat little universe there. Savage Lands. A primordial jungle, this treacherous and unforgiving landscape is filled with hidden dangers and horrific beasts. From massive predators to vicious scavengers, poisonous fungi to carnivorous plants, the Savage Lands is home to some of the most treacherous wildlife known to Rathe. That's where you're going to find characters like Reinar the Brute. He comes from Savage Lands. We have Mysteria. Among the mountain ranges of Mysteria lies a hidden world, concealed by a thick veil of mists. Removed from the struggles and conflicts of the outside world, they find satisfaction in introspection and self-discipline, training rigorously to strengthen their bodies and sharpen their minds. This is our prototypical, definitely Asian-inspired world with ninjas, samurais, all of those tropes. So that's where Aira and Katsu are coming from. We have Metrix. A vibrant and bustling city, Metrix is the largest hub of commerce on the continent, taking pride in the pursuit of progress and the future of technology. Whether scientist or inventor, merchant or miner, Metrix calls to all those seeking their fortune and the promise of a better tomorrow. So that's where we're getting all of the kind of steampunk look for everything. So Dash, Datadol, they're both from Metrix. We have Pits. I feel weird calling it Pits. I want to call it the Pits. Even they kind of call it the Pits here, but okay. Pits. Deep beneath the city of Metrix, centuries of mining have left a series of massive underground caverns. Thieves, mercenaries, slavers, and smugglers have settled within the darkened cavern of the Pits, providing all manner of immoral and illegal services to the world above. Yeah, that checks out. That's where Azalea and the new merchant are from, and so they're definitely the what they do, what their money goes to the highest bidder, and they'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. Next up, we have the Demonastery. Far beyond the shores of Rathe lies an island shrouded in mist, a massive derelict manor looming over the desolate landscape. The Demonastery calls to magicians and scientists alike, offering a place to study taboo and forbidden subjects without the threat of punishment or retribution. So this is definitely a dark, magical world. This is where the Rune Blade comes from. And I assume we'll get some necromancy type stuff coming from there as well. And the last region we have to talk about is Volcor. Rivers of lava run throughout Volcor, pooling into massive lakes of molten magma. The citizens of Volcor are resigned to a life of servitude under the generals, locked in constant warfare, battling for their lives beneath the watchful gaze of the royal family. So this is this like blasted fiery landscape that Kano comes from. And the new warrior also hails from here. Very, very cool. The last thing that I want to go through in our Welcome to Rathe section for this video is that it gives us some information on the different professions in Rathe. It says, in a world plagued by war and conflict, the people of Rathe developed ways to keep themselves safe and fight back against their enemies. Even after centuries of peace, these professions live on, passed down from generation to generation, evolving with each passing year. Where some pursued a more offensive profession, relying on weapons and power, others took the path of defense, finding ways to protect themselves and aid their allies in battle. So we have a bunch of different classes here that the game has either already brought to life in the cards or will be bringing to life in cards possibly soon. It has given us some hints as to what's coming, and maybe something's changed after this was written. But we'll kind of go through what they have listed for us, and we'll kind of talk about what's already here and what's not here. First up, we have Alchemist. Now, Alchemist is going to be probably very similar to the Mechanologist, but just a different kind of vibe. So I think that most of these classes here are not necessarily replacing things that have already happened or have been replaced by those. I think this is just extra stuff. So I would be really intrigued to see Alchemist coming in the future, because considering we have so many potion cards, I'd really like to see a class that takes advantage of some of those potions. Maybe it could even be like, it doesn't have very many cards of its own. It just uses potions. Could be kind of cool, like the Merchant. Assassin is also a class that we haven't seen yet, but we've seen maybe some hints of that. Azalea, while being a ranger, definitely feels like she's a killer for hire, a mercenary type, so perhaps Assassin's one will be coming soon. The symbols we get from it are definitely size, and they kind of have a Mysteria vibe as we go through there. Bard is a class that's hinted at in the Aria section of this book. So people who use their music and their charm and their magic to persuade or perhaps confuse some of the other people around. Definitely one that I'm very excited for. Bravo already hits a lot of my like fantasy vibe. So if we could get to another character that's kind of like that, I'd be really, really into that. The Brute Rhinar. That's definitely a class we already have in the game. Big, nasty, beats things with sticks and calls animals to help you out. Definitely a cool class. Another hinted at one is Cleric. We have some art from the book that seems to be a possible Cleric. And yeah, I would like to see something from Solana that's more magic based and not necessarily like melee combat based. Maybe something that heals itself, or perhaps heals other players in exchange for things to make like pit fight a little bit more exciting. Guardian, now that's what Bravo is. Now, a lot of people think Guardian is just like a protector type, and it is, but it's not just a protector. It's a magical hero type that is here to defend their land against outsiders, and they use elements to bring in that force, as if something from the land itself is empowering them. Bravo is using the power of Arya, so you see a lot of his magic in cards like Crush Confidence, but whoever this horrible, brutal Guardian is in Crucible of War is definitely defending his land in a much more vicious way. We have hinted at the Illusionist. Now, we don't really have too many hints as to what that might be, but perhaps the Shapeshifter, Shyana, the legendary, could be a hint in that direction, considering it seems like she's using magic to change shape, which could just be an illusion. Necromancy is hinted at here, while the Runeblade is definitely using deadly magic and the undead to power some of his rune chants. He's not truly a necromancer, so maybe we'll get something that uses that kind of darker side and possibly rune chants in a different way. Possibly we'll use rune chants as a resource. Could be cool. Ninja, we already have. Katsu and Arya or Ira are our kind of prototypical different ninja types. Benji as well from Crucible War. So if you like ninja, you got plenty of heroes to choose from. Ranger, our ranger that we have so far is Azalea. She's from the Pits, a vicious kind of mercenary for hire with very deadly traps. Perhaps we'll get someone from Savage Lands that's a ranger in the future that maybe uses animals a little bit more as what we think of as a D&D style ranger. Warrior, a close combat fighter, heavily armored, lots of weapons, lots of big heavy strikes. Dorinthia is our prototypical one in this game, and I think we'll see more warriors down the line. We already have a second one. It's a pretty basic class in most works of fiction, so I won't be sad if we see another one of her. And of course, Wizard. Kano is our wizard that we have so far from Volcor. The wizards are a very interesting class. I could see where wizard may not get pushed as much in the future, because working outside of the standard attack basis of the game does weird stuff. But I would love to see maybe some more wizard spells that are attacks that can be interacted with a little bit more commonly. Maybe they'll be summons or some sort of illusory fighters that they can bring up. Now, the book itself does imply that there will be many more classes coming through. Obviously, Mechanologist isn't on this list. Runeblade wasn't on this list. Merchant wasn't on this list. But it does give you some hints as to what we'll be seeing. It says, Whether you draw power from magic and spellcasting, wielding any number of man-made weapons, or by utilizing the power within, the outcome is the same. In a world plagued by conflict, you must fight for the chance to determine your fate. Will you succumb to the machinations of others, or will you choose your own path? Pick up your sword and prepare for battle, for no matter where you run, war will find you. And I gotta tell you, this is only like 6 pages into this like 120-page book, and I am stoked. I'm really excited to read more of this and share more of this with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you like down below, subscribe to make sure you guys get a notification of these videos. I've done a couple other Flesh and Blood videos, a commercial. If you don't know anything about the game, if you want to learn to play, we did a playthrough with some of the Ira Learn to Play decks. And yeah, I'd love to talk to you guys more about Flesh and Blood. This is a game I'm really hyped to keep promoting, so if you guys want this content, please comment, let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll make sure we get some for you. But until then, my name's Chan Sterling, and I'll see you guys in the future. Good night.